Hi everybody, I am Kenya and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I want to talk about rent control as a piggyback off of my video from yesterday. So last year around April, I read an article, I think in a New York Post, about a woman who had rent control. I'm going to link the article underneath the video in the description box, just in case you want to check it out for yourself, because I like to have my sources to back up what I am saying. When you buy an apartment building, right, when you go on the MLS, which is the multiple listing service that realtors use, and it will have, like, say for instance you're looking for a 1-family house or a 2 or 3 or a 8-unit building, it will list all of the apartments and if they are occupied, whether they're vacant, and how much each person is paying rent for those apartments. So you will already know who is living in a rent controlled apartment, who's paying $78, who's paying $323. Like a landlord, you already know, okay, I'm gonna buy this property, but like 2 people are paying way below market rate rent. So a lot of landlords who buy buildings, you know, from other landlords or owners or investors, they already know that rent control is a thing. I wanted to make a video on this last year, but I just never got around to it. Last year around April, an article was posted. It was like April of 2018. A lady in Long Island City, Queens, I believe it was Long Island City, Queens, was living in a rent controlled apartment. So I believe it was like a 10-unit, between a 6 and 10 unit apartment unit, right? So she lived in the building, and her neighbor who lived on a ground level knocked on her door to ask her to babysit his cat. And so this was back like in the 90s or whatever, so they got really close. And so the man was only paying about $100 a month for that ground level apartment. So right before this man died, this man had like cancer or something. 22 days before he died, he adopted this lady. She was 55 years at the time. 55 years old at the time, y'all. Did you hear me?
This lady was 55 years old at the time.
And so this man adopted her. And therefore, since he adopted her, in a sense, she, you know, through some technical loophole, she was able to inherit that apartment that he had on the ground level, also paying $100. Now, mind you, these rent control apartments are so freaking outdated, like so outdated. Like when I was really doing my rentals hard in like major cities, like there was this one building that they were renovating that was rent controlled, and I don't know how they got all the tenants out of that building. I believe there was still one more person living on the first floor, but the entire building was like empty. And the inside of these apartments, like they would have like, it had like tile floors. I was like lifting up when I say these was old school 1960s and 70s apartments. So I mean, if you want to live in a rent controlled apartment, be smart about it, be strategic, pay off all your debts and stuff like that. But let me tell you, you're not going to be living like fabulous or anything like that. You're going to be living like, they're probably going to be kind of hurt. So anyway, she was able to get that apartment. But the part that had me dying was this. The landlord was mad that she was able to, you know, get that apartment on a technicality. And you know, they said that she was loud and annoying anyway, so the landlord was ready for her to go and then for her to inherit this apartment, and she was like, she's never going anywhere. But let me tell you the kicker of why the landlord was just like, if I was a landlord or property owner, I would be mad too. So she has a 2-bedroom for $100 in Long Island City, and like some apartments in that same apartment like building goes for as much as $1,850. And also she rents out the separate room on Airbnb. She rents out her second room on Airbnb. Now, if that landlord was smart, he would write something in the clause of his lease where she is not allowed to sublease her apartments, because in my old property, somebody had their extra room on Airbnb, and we made them take it down because you are not allowed to sublease your apartment, basically. So if that landlord was smart, he would just like create a new lease and have her sign it like, hey, you can't sublease this apartment. So not only is she paying $100 a month for rent, she's also making a profit on property that's not even hers. You know what I'm saying? And I had a friend who lived in a rent controlled apartment in Queens. And when I tell you it was like a 3-bedroom, but this apartment was like super outdated. But this apartment was ginormous. Like that was probably like the biggest New York City apartment I had ever seen. And he was saying that it had been in the family for years or whatever. Like 30 or 40 or 50 years or something. A very long time. But that's that. So if you have an auntie, a grandmother, an uncle, and they got one foot in the grave and they live in a rent controlled apartment, there are loopholes and ways that you could be able to inherit that apartment rental. You just have to do a lot of research and figure it out, and figure out how you can go about doing it. So yeah, that was just, you know, a quick little story about how rent control just went wrong for the landlord. You know, it didn't work in the landlord's, you know, favor, but it worked in the tenant's favor. So if this video was like eye-opening, enlightening, you learned something, you know, hit the thumbs up button. If you know people who live in rent control apartments, you know, send this video to them. If you know any landlords who got rent controlled apartments, send this to them too. Or if you have rent controlled apartments because you are a landlord and you got your 2 cents to add, put it in the comment section. I want to hear your thoughts. So I want to thank you guys for coming to kick it with me today, and I will see you guys in my next YouTube video. Toodles.